Welcome to no sound effects tonight. The Thunder. It's Shooter. It's Schooley. The NHL season is over. Let's get it out of the way right now. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers for their back-to-back Stanley Cup wins. Oh, I haven't said that out loud. It feels dirty, Thomas Schooley. How do you feel about this?
Go wash your mouth out with soap.
I feel like I
Listen,
need to.
they were the better team. They're a better team in all the playoffs. It was cool as much as there's a rivalry between the two for Kachuk to come out and say that Tampa was the toughest match in the playoffs this season. Um, but I mean, they got injuries at the right time. To land Brad Marchand, who, you know, that nobody likes, especially here in Tampa, but he played a big role tying the record of goals scored uh, in the finals, Stanley Cup finals. And then also they got the advantage of um, being able to bury the contract when Eggplant was out for the steroids.
It just kind of seemed like everything went their way, whether it was like their trade acquisitions, whether the timing with the steroid suspension for Ekblad, even Barkov being out and getting that kind of rest at the end of the season. It's on the ice, right? It's like every bounce in our series went their way. And, I watch as much hockey as I can, even when we're out of it. It was the same the rest of the series, right? The only kind of like skid that they hit was Toronto beat them twice in that series, and then they completely took over the series. So, as much as I'm sure fans want us to sit here and talk shit about the Panthers, like they're the team to beat. there's no doubt about that. I think what we should be talking about is, and maybe we'll do this later in the off season, is head to head the best Lightning team versus the best Panthers team. That's the matchup I'd like to see. To me, that's 2020 Lightning versus, I think it's this year's. I think this year's Panthers team was better than last year's.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But then we now see the Tampa problem going to be in Florida next year. They have so many players that are up for free agency, and they will not be able to sign all of them. So it's going to be interesting. They did real good with the trade deadline. And I think that's where teams need to look at the Florida Panthers and look at that and focus on that. I mean, picking up Seth Jones, picking up Brad Marchand. I mean, those are two huge pickups that help them in these playoffs. And I think that's what teams going forward, but they're going to end up having to sell off just like Tampa had to do and lose some players.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about free agents, and I would say three of the top 5 or 6 free agents are on the Panthers that are out there. So they're not going to be able to keep them all. I bet they do whatever they can to keep Sam Bennett after the playoffs he had. He won the Conn Smythe, totally deserved to. And yeah, I mean, looking back at that trade deadline, the 2 players they got versus the 2 players we got, man, I kind of wish we got the 2 that they got.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that would have made a difference, but having a Marchand versus the Panthers would have been nice. And having that extra depth on defense is, I think, something that they're going to address in the offseason. So we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs some more and what kind of went down. We're going to talk about free agency coming up. I definitely am interested. I see some of you guys in the chat. Thanks for joining us live. Um, we'll talk about kind of what we'd like to see the team do and some specific moves as we kind of look at the list of players available. I put it out there on We the Thunder Pod on X earlier today for fans to tell us what they think JBB and company should do. So we'll read some of those. But if you're in the chat with us live, let us know what you think the Lightning need to do this offseason, whether it's going through free agency, whether it's getting creative and trading some of our players to bring in some new players. Curious kind of what people think, and give me names. If you think we need to sign a certain player, or you think we need to trade for a certain player, let us know. But if you think we need to trade for a certain player, I want to know who we're getting rid of. Because players are not free, and we do not have many draft picks to give away anymore. So join the
Serena, the answer about real quick about Florida being over the cap. They actually have $19 million to go into this next season in cap space, where Tampa has 3.48 million left.
Yeah, somehow Florida's got a lot of cap space left too. I saw like the list of like the top 10, and I don't think they were on it, of like not much cap space left, which of course we're on that list.
Tampa's number 2. The only one with less is Avalanche.
Yeah, but we are still a favorite to win the cup next year, as are the Avalanche, as are the Panthers, as are the Oilers. So I don't think the Lightning are that far off. I think that they can make some moves to get right back to where they need to be in the Stanley Cup Finals. So we'll talk about all that in the next hour. It's good to be back and talking about Lightning hockey. Did you watch a lot of these playoffs after we
I
were out?
did. Well, I never watch any game with the Panthers in it. Other than that, yes, I just couldn't bring myself. Last year and this year, I was torn between Oilers and the Panthers, so I did not watch any Panthers game this off season after they beat the Lightning.
I
But
watched
they
a
say
couple.
if you're going to lose to a team, you want to lose to the eventual champions, even if it's the Florida Panthers.
Thomas Schooley always finding the silver lining. 2 years in a row, we've lost to the team that went on to win. And as you mentioned earlier, Kachuk did mention, I don't know if it was tongue in cheek or what, but he did say that the Lightning were the toughest team that they were matched up with in the playoffs. I don't know if he's was it really including the Oilers in that conversation? And I
I
don't
already
really
said
think we played that well against them. We played like crap versus them most of that series. So it's good we get a little respect, because Kachuk is not a huge fan of the Lightning. We know that.
no. And I had already said that, so can you listen to me every once in a while,
I
please?
said you
But,
said that. I wanted to say
uh,
it too. It's on my
but
notes, okay?
it
Look, it's
was
on my invisible notes.
it was during the Oilers right before game 5, I think, is when the press conference that he said that in. So he's including the Oilers in there, and really, it was dominating against the Oilers. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, it was just weird to see the Oilers these last two games. I thought after they came back in what was it, game four, I guess,
Yeah,
and won that game in overtime, even after the Panthers came back and tied it in the last minute. I thought like, hey, maybe that's going to be that like momentum boost that they need. And then game 6 and 7, it's like, guys, we just forgot to play defense all of a sudden. I'm sure McDavid is not happy.
there
We
was
will
no game
play,
7.
yeah, we will play
Right.
the clip that's been going around, Thunderbolts, from Spittin' Chicklets, about some speculation, which don't get too excited because I don't know how all that works. There is something called the salary cap. But I thought overall a disappointing playoffs as a Lightning fan. But I thought the playoffs were awesome. Like, so many goals that happened in the last minute, whether it was Winnipeg, winning the game with seconds left, or I had some. I started to take some notes, but by the third round, I was like, all right, I'm not taking any notes anymore on what's happening in the playoffs. But there were such good series all around, really good games. Sure, the finals was kind of disappointing. And no, I watched some of last night's game. It was pretty obvious who was going to win it after 20 minutes. I definitely did not watch them hoist the cup. I did not need to see that. But I'm not that much of a hater. They were the best team, and Lightning have to figure out how to beat them. I'm convinced that the Panthers built this team with the idea of how do we build a team that can beat the Tampa Bay Lightning so we can own the Atlantic and we can own the East, and by golly, they did it. So the silver linings, like you said, lost to the best team twice in a row. We keep the cup in the state of Florida, which I think, obviously it's not the right part of Florida, but I still think that's a good thing for hockey down here.
There
I
was
mean, think
5
about it.
Canadian teams that entered the playoffs, 2 Florida teams that entered the playoffs, and the 2 Florida teams, the one Florida team knocked out the other Florida team, and then the last Florida team beat the last Canada team. So
Well, in all decade, the Eastern Conference has been represented by a Florida team. That's unbelievable. We're halfway through the decade. That's unbelievable. If you went back to 2010, we would all be like, "What? What happened?" So that's the good news. The bad news is we had to deal with Panthers fans for another year. But you know what? We got to figure out how to beat the Panthers, which I'm sure JBB and company will be trying to figure out here in the offseason. How did your bracket look by the end of the playoffs?
I didn't even look at it after the second round.
Shoot, you know what? We did our own
Oh, that's right. We
bracket
did.
challenge, and I haven't even looked at it. I know who didn't win. Definitely not me.
This one
I
too.
I did not see Florida playing that well because they were so hum ho the end of the season. And same thing with the Oilers. The Oilers were playing like crap at the end of the season. So let's remember this because we complain a lot about the Lightning the last month of the season when they have their little drop off. But hey, maybe that's all part of the master plan. You don't have to play that good at the end of the season. You just have to get into the dance. We've also got predictions. We did predictions with Sonia before the season started. Actually, I think we did it like, didn't we? Yeah, we forgot there was a hurricane that messed up
Yes.
the beginning of our season. So we actually started a couple games in with our predictions, but we'll go over that as well. What else? What else about this year's playoffs? Anything else stand out to you?
No. Dallas looked like it was going to have a great year. Then they have that debacle with Otter and their coach DeBear, and then they get rid of their coach because he decided to speak out against Otter, and I guess it rubbed the team wrong. So it shows, even if you're getting to your conference finals, you need to still watch what you say.
Yeah, there's such a strange situation there, and Dallas is a team that's got a lot of free agents. So they're going to have to make some moves if they want to keep some of these guys. But I'll tell you what, that Ratnan guy, man, he had a hell of a playoffs. Talking about some of the great moments in this playoffs, he was unbelievable for them, and he got traded twice during the season.
And
And
he
he,
he really did good against the Avalanche. I think the Avs got a little upset that it was basically him that beat them.
yeah, well, another good NHL season. Now we get to look forward to the draft. We get to look at free agency, which we'll look at. Should we just jump? I guess, yeah, we'll close the book on the season and look at some of our predictions. I will say, I don't know if you remember this, but I cleaned house last season. You remember that?
No.
My predictions were like, I got most of them right. Like an unbelievable level of accuracy. This year, guess what? You
You
did pretty well.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, not bad. All right, so let's start at the top here. I asked myself, Thomas, and Sonia Bryson Kirksey how many points the Bolts would get this season. The prior 2 seasons, they got 98. I said 104. Sonia said 110. Thomas, you said 101. Do you know what they finished at?
No.
102.
Oh wow.
So you are the closest on that one. It's kind of funny to think about. The Lightning actually had a better season in the regular season this year than they had in the past 2 seasons. So they were a little bit better, just by 3 or 4 points. If the Bolts don't win the Atlantic Division, who will win? Sonia and Thomas went with the Panthers. The Panthers finished in third place. I went with the Leafs, and the Leafs regular season champs for a while now. Too bad they can't get past a couple rounds of the playoffs. So I got you on that one. What place will the Lightning finish in the Atlantic Division? I said third because they finished third in the seasons that they won the Stanley Cup. And you and Sonia said second. They did finish in second place in the Atlantic. Which Bolt will win an award and what award? We're going to jump into the full list of awards as well. As usual, Lightning players pretty much just were not a factor in the awards except the ones that they had to give Cooch for winning the scoring title. I said geeky for Calder. I was way off. You and Sonia said that Jack Adams for Coop. That's never happened and never will. And you said Cooch for Hart as well. He should have won Hart.
Yeah.
He should have. That if there's one thing I'm upset about with the NHL, it's the blatant bias of not awarding Kucherov for the last 2 seasons the Hart. And I think it is because he's Russian. I think 100% it is because he's Russian. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, it was the All-Star game. None of this should matter.
We
None of
got,
it should matter.
I don't know if Stephanie's watching. I haven't seen her comment at all, but she made a good point. About 70% of the people that vote on that is Canadian media. And the fact that Connor Hellebuck won the Hart and won it single-handedly and by a lot. And what was it? Cooch came in third, didn't he? He didn't even come in.
I'll pull it up later, but yeah, he did not. Yeah, I think it was third. I think you're right. I think Draisaitl was second.
Yes. So Canadian team, both get first and second.
That absolutely criminal. I thought more so last year he should have won it because he was without him on the Lightning probably wouldn't have made the playoffs. Anyway, yeah, we did. Yeah, we didn't really win any awards. We'll go through the awards in a minute. How many wins does Vasi get this year? I said 40. Sonia said 45. Thomas Schooley said 38. And Vasi had 38 wins. Schooley on the button. I don't have my sound effects, or else I'd give you some sort of sound effect. All right, so we got who leads the Bolts in goals this season and how many? So the previous season was 46 for point. Oh, you had more. I went point with 54. Sonia said Cooch 56. You said Cooch 50. It was Pointer again. Only 42. And guess who's right behind him at 41?
Get some.
USA's champion, although not named to the Olympic team yet. We should talk about the Olympics a little bit because I think we have 5 Bolts on the early roster release. And then, yeah, so Pointer with 42. How many points does Cooch get? 144 last season. Not league MVP, though. Not league MVP. That was last season. This season, 121. So it's crazy that he scored 144. I said 140, Sonia 150. You went off the rails with 160. He had 121. So great season for Cooch. How many goals does Braden Point score? We talked about that. He led the team with 42. I said 54. Sonia 52. You said 55. Pointer a little off this season with his goal scoring with the 42. Which bottom 6 forward scores 20 goals or gets closest to, with the exception of, you can't say Point. I said bottom 6, so I clarified it. Obviously, Point, Cooch, Gensel, no. But we also said Paul, Sorelli, Hagel off limits. By the way, all of those guys named hit 20 goals. I said AC Mont didn't finish the season with the Bolts, so it was not him, and I don't think he hit 20 goals. Sonia said Glenn Denning. You said Geeky. We were all way off. Geeky probably could have scored 20 goals if he could finish on some of his chances and play the whole season. The surprise here that we should have said was actually Mitchell Chafee. So Chafee, I feel like this is a low number. I feel like he scored more than this, but 12 goals for Chafee. So a good season for him as he starts to become a veteran Bolt. Let's see. We got, other than the Lightning, which Eastern Conference team is the most dominant and wins the East? I said Rangers. You said Rangers. Last year, the Rangers were the team to beat. This year, didn't even make the playoffs. So we were wrong. Sonia stuck with the Lightning, even though I said other than the Lightning. Hey, I don't mess with the Queen. Okay, she can say the Lightning if she wants. It was, I think, a surprise to everyone. The Capitals, 111 points, won the East, came out of nowhere. By the way, it was their coach Carberry who won Jack Adams as the best coach, and I thought that was a no-brainer. I thought he absolutely should have won that.
Which was so weird because when we won the President's Cup, Coop didn't win the Jack Adams.
Who won it that year? Someone in the chat, can you look up when we won the President's Cup, which was 2019, who won the Jack Adams? And I would like to understand why. All right, we got 2 more. This is a fun one. How many points will Steven Stamkos finish the season with?
Sorry, what year was it?
2019.
Barry Trotz.
Trotz won it?
Yep.
That's lame. All right, so Stammer, 84 his last season with the Bolts, had over 100 the season before that. We still let the guy go. Maybe a good move. Just 53. He didn't. We watched him all season. We were keeping track of him. 53 points. Probably his worst season of his career. But guess what? Tied for third on Nashville. Nashville did not have a good season. You said he was going to get 91. I said 71. Sonia said 77. So we were all a bit off there. And finally, we ask it every year just for fun. Does John Cooper get fired? We all said no, but remember, right after the season ended, there were rumors that Coop was going to fly the Coop up to Utah. So this is the first time we've heard rumors of not necessarily Coop getting fired, but Coop walking away and leaving the team. So JBB squashed that one right away in his end of season press conference. And I believe Cooper's contract does still run out at the end of next season. You know if that's accurate?
Yes, the end of this season.
So
I see Serena says that it says Cassidy. I have Cassidy as the 2020 winner.
Yeah, well, it's always weird in the NHL because they do the 19, 20, 18, 19. So one of you are right, but either way, it's just bizarre that Coop has not won that. All right, we'll go through the awards real quick. I thought I had a site where I had votes on here too. Yes, I do. Okay. The Hart, the MVP, the award that Cooch should have won at least once in the past 2 years. He has won it before, by the way, so it's okay. And when I met him last offseason and we talked about it, he said, it's fine. He doesn't care. Deep down inside, he probably cares a little bit. And he deserves it, more importantly. But yeah, Connor Hellebuyck, the Jets goalie, wins the award the first time since Carey Price in 2014-2015. The goalie's won MVP. Draisaitl finished right behind him, really not far behind him in votes. And then it was Kucherov. So Kuch, how it shook out is Kuch only got 25 first place votes. 40 second, 51 third, 59 fourth. So he's just getting no respect from these voters. It is going to take an absolute monster season for Cooch to ever win Hart, and I'd probably say he's probably never going to have a chance to win it again the way that these voters are voting. Vesna was a little bit of a surprise, not who won it. I think we knew Hellebuck was going to win it halfway through the season, but Vasi, second place.
Yeah,
Finished
was
in
a
second.
total shock. And the real quick, I had posted it. The way the NHL did the awards this year is they didn't do the award show. Instead, they surprised the players, the coaches, whatever, with the awards. And there was that leaked photo of Hallebeck um, with the Hart Trophy and with the Vezina before they were even announced. And I'm sure the NHL lost their shit. The original photo that came from a reporter got deleted real quickly, but not quick enough that a lot of people had already taken it and was able to save it. And so it showed. And so it was like a week before they actually announced who had won it. So the suspense was kind of gone when they had finally announced it.
Yeah. Speaking of leaked photos, too, you see the Panthers broke the cup pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah. Something about winning it the second time where I guess you get a little more careless with it. But they cracked that son of a bitch.
They sure did.
we Pat Maroon put a big dent in it, but they cracked it. So a little bit harder of a fix. I would say do this NHL. Never give it back to them. Kemper finished in third, by the way, for the Kings. So there's your goalie situation. By the way, Stellares, Maple Leafs goalie, knocked out by the Panthers, which I think was a huge loss for Toronto, because I always kind of thought like, hey, there's a lot that Toronto needs to work on, but goaltending is number one on my list, and I felt like this guy was somebody that could maybe get him over the hump, and to lose him in what was it, game one, to a concussion, elbow to the head. I know he took the shot to the mask, and I think he got 2 concussions that game. But man, that's a tough pill to swallow for the Leafs fans. I think I saw Donnie Pepin in the chat, so sorry, Donnie. The Norris, that is your best defender, Cale Makar. No surprise, he is the NHL sweetheart, and he's not a bad player. He wins it hands down. Werenski for the Blue Jackets gets second place. He had a hell of a season. Hughes in third, and Victor Hedman did finish in 5th place. So Victor still on the board. Aging
McDonough was
Victor.
on the board there too. McDonough had some votes.
I only got the top 5, but
Oh.
I wouldn't be too surprised if McDonough's on there. So all you Hedman haters, not looking at you, Thomas. Hey, he's still got something going on. The Calder, Lane Hudson, that guy up in Montreal, wins it. Definitely deserved. Let's go to the
Sorry, Mac finished 14th. Hetty finished 5th, and Norris and Mac finished 14th. My honest
14th.
opinion, Mac was better than Hetty this past season, but
Selke. This is the best offensive forward for those that don't know. Barkov has won this award way too many times now.
top 3 were Florida teams, 2 for the Panthers and 1 for the Lightning.
Yeah. Reinhardt finished in second, and our guy, Anthony Cirelli, finished in third. He did get 29 first place votes, so he was very close to finishing in second. I'd like to see one of our guys have a chance to win some of these someday. I mean, I definitely think Cirelli had the best season of his career offensively, defensively. He plays
Do you
well.
think he should have gotten that third or Hagel? I thought Hagel would have been third and Cirelli maybe a 4th or 5th.
That's a good question.
I
I
would
don't
have,
know, but
I would have had Hagel higher up than Sorelli.
Hagel did get second team NHL All Star team. So they do
Yep.
a first team and a second team. Cooch got first. Hagel did make the second team, which is a pretty good get
Massey
for
too,
him.
right? Was
Vassy
that?
did too. So Hagel got some respect, and he deserved it too. He had the best. He had the best season of his career as well. Jack Adams, we talked about it. Spencer Carberry from the Caps, I think, was definitely earned. Who got second? Brunette and the Panther or Predators got second. How the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I
That's
couldn't figure
like
that
this.
one out
That's
either.
why these awards are bullshit. The Predators had an awful season. Didn't make the playoffs. Oh, it had a stacked team. Let's give second place to their coach. That makes no sense. All right, let's keep it going here. That's it. That's all our awards. So can we turn
No,
the page on this
there
season
was the one that Cooch did win.
for most points?
Nope.
Oh, Ted Lindsay,
There you go.
the MVP voted by the players who know what's going on out there. So hopefully, yeah, and you saw the video with Cooch getting it in the locker room.
And
So
I think that one is more important than the heart for Cooch because it's actually voted on by the players. And so I think that makes him feel respected from the players, which is all that I think any player really cares about. And then the
yeah,
Lady Byng was the guy from Columbus. Um, can't think of his name. Was it Monahan?
oh yeah, what happened to Lady Bang?
That was the one where what's his face?
Somehow it's not on my list.
Wife came and delivered it to him.
I don't know. I'd like to see some of our guys win some of these trophies. I'm looking for Bing right now. Ted Lindsay, Bill Masterson trophy. By the way, is like sportsmanship. That was Sean Monahan. The Flower
That's
finished in
when
second
Monahan
for that one.
won. Yeah,
Or I don't know if he this has finalists on it.
Kopitar won the Lady Bing.
Lady Bing, Kopitar. I believe Braden Point placed second or third in that one
Second.
too.
Yep.
Maybe I thought I saw somebody post that maybe he would have won it if he didn't get in the fight like one of the last games of the season. Um, I don't know. I like to shut our guys out of this stuff. So there you have it. That was the awards. And what else? Let me keep on track here. Trying to keep on track with what we say we're going to talk about because we always like throw out we're going to talk about this. We always miss something. So we talked about the awards. We recapped the playoffs. We did predictions. We got one thing left here. What do the Bolts need to do in the off season? So I want to go to the chat here. Pull up your notes because I know you got some notes. Let's address the chat. See who's out there. I haven't really looked yet. So hey everybody. Serena is in the house. Yeah, who cares what these dumb Canadian reporters think? We're Americans, gosh darn. Seems like they vote based on feelings versus the actual season. Yeah, the voting's all jacked up for those awards. Cheryl is in the house. Go Hetty. That's right. Second for the Norris. Kyle Ball, cracked and dented. He's talking about the Stanley Cup. Who else we got in here? Give
I
you a
saw
shout
Sarah
out.
in there earlier.
Debbie Kemp in the house. Hopefully in a house and not crossing streets in downtown Tampa because we know she struggles with that sometimes. Not her fault. Got crazy drivers out there. Donnie Pepin, I mentioned earlier, and Sarah. I don't know if you're still out there, but hey, Sarah, what's going on? All right. Should I play the clip?
Sure.
So I haven't heard this. I saw it. on Thunderbolts, but I've not played it yet. So I will be hearing this for the first time, just like you. Well, some of you might have seen it already. Dang, my screen share is not going to cooperate with me today, I guess. Hold on, I got to move it to Chrome. Our platform does not like Firefox. Oh, of course I'm not logged in. I'm not a big Facebook guy. Speaking of which, if you want to catch us on the socials, We the Thunder Pod on X, it's probably the best place to go. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I do post on there occasionally under @ShootyShoots. Oh, it's right under my name here. And I do have a Twitter for myself under @ShootyShoots. If you want to follow me there. Man, I am not logged into Facebook, so this is going to
While
be
you're
a
pulling that
problem.
up, I'm gonna go and say that the Lightning players that are free agents this year,
Do it.
Perbix. You say if you think they're gonna stay or go. Perbix, 1.125 million.
I think Purvis is going to get overpaid by another team, not the
Yeah,
Lightning.
I don't think he's with the Lightning next year. Cam Atkinson, 900K.
No chance.
I think he comes back. You've seen him all season over here practicing and participating in everything with the Lightning. I think he has a inkling that he's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to take the league minimum, I'm sure Lightning will entertain that, but I don't think he's going to play much.
Gonsalves.
Gonsalves is a restricted free agent, and he is the only one that you're going to name that needs to be re-signed.
Tompkins, $780,000.
Goalie. No, that experiment's over.
Glendening, 800K.
You know, Glendening played really good, I thought, his first year here, and this year was kind of invisible.
Face-offs, though, he was not. He was great in face-offs, and anytime he scored a goal, we won.
Well, when you score 2 goals a season, that can happen. I mean, again, league minimum, fourth line center. I'd love to have him back. Someone might pay him $1.2 million a year, and I don't see why he wouldn't go take that. So I want him back at a league minimum, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
There was 2 more, but Lightning have already signed them. And the first one was right after the season ended. Johansson. Yep, Johansson for 1.
I'm fine with that. I know a lot of people hated on JoJo when he was in there, but I mean, backup goalie, he did his job. So you got to have someone that you can rely on. You got to have someone you can trust. It helps to have that stability of having somebody that you know. So I do like that move, and I like the next one, even though we're going to have him until he's 53 years old.
The other signing the Lightning did in the offseason was Yanni Gourde with $2.33 million, which I thought was a great deal with him. And I think the Lightning social media team did an outstanding job announcing this by putting, I don't know if you saw it, they put the contract on the furniture dolly and just rolled it across the screen.
I didn't see that, but that is great. I think I was out of town when they announced that one.
That's how they had announced it, and so it was great. And we had something. If you follow any of the Bolts or any of their wives or anything on social media, you had seen that during the off season you had Hedman, McDonough, Point, Yanni. I forget who else. Maybe Nick Paul on vacation together, kids free vacation, and looked like they were having a good time when they came back. They Yanni ended up leaving the very next day to go back. He had signed the contract the day they came back from their vacation. And then he flew back to his other home.
Yeah, and I think it was an excellent signing at a low number like that. I don't know if we re-sign Yanni if we don't lose to the Panthers the way that they beat us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we need, and I think that the Lightning front office probably know this by now. We need guys like Yanni, right? We need guys like Sam Bennett. We need guys like Brad Marchand, um, because we need to beat the Panthers. And obviously, that formula of skill and toughness and just being a pain in the ass hockey player for the other team works. And that is what Yanni Gord is. Did he do?
Yanni
He was kind
Hagel
of
and
quiet.
Sorelli. Yanni Hagel and Sorelli, I'd put in that category. And when you have them all on one line or between two lines or one injury, I think you do an injustice. On that, when you have that point, Jake Getzel and Cooch line, I just think it's too nice of a line. I think you need to have that kind of line, like uh, those kind of people, like the Florida Panthers have.
Yeah. Well, the luxury that the Panthers have is they've got guys that can produce the points as well. That's what we need to see from Yanni next season. Is we need to see him getting back close to 20 goals a season. And being the pest that he is. He was kind of quiet. You saw some games towards the end of the season where he was just like, all right, that's the guy we know. And remember, he was injured when he got traded here. So maybe he was still feeling the effects of that injury, not 100%. So I'm excited to have Yanni Cord the rest of his career, assuming he doesn't get traded. He will be here until he's like 40, I believe, is the actual end of his contract. So,
And Serena has a good point there too. Bjorkstan, I think
yeah,
having Bjorky here for a whole season is going to be a good fit for Tampa, and I can't wait to see how that develops this season. You see, Angel had a question here. What do we think about Vassy since the Avalanche series? Well, since he had the back surgery 2 years ago, he wasn't good for the first half. Last year, I didn't think he started the year off great, but I think he finished. I mean, obviously, he finished good enough where the voters picked him second for the Vezina. And I think going into next season, I think Vassy's someone who gets in his head. We've known that. They've made that very clear. He's someone that gets in his own head. And I think he got that confidence at the end of the season this year. So I think that's going to carry into the next year. I think he has something he wants to prove,
yeah,
especially.
I agree. And you look at a guy like Bobrovsky, who similar player, not the same size as Vassy physically, but Russian guy, very dedicated to the game, his position. Um, he's going to be 37. He's 36. He won the last two cups and played very, very good in the last two playoffs. So I think people look at Vassy, they look at the number, which, by the way, Bob makes more money than Vassy does.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't think we're in bad shape at all. Uh, I think Vassy's the one of the stars on this team. Man, I know people are kind of over it because the money he makes, and he lets goals in occasionally, as does every goalie. But he's in the prime of his career, and like I said, Bob just won a cup at 35 and 36. We saw Dwayne Rolston in 2011 take us to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and he was 39 or 40, I believe. So I ain't giving up on Vassy yet, and I think that number is fair. He's not the highest paid goalie in the league, and when Vassy's playing well, which was that streak kind of in February, and really he played well the whole second half of the season. But it was February when he really heated up, and that's when this team was on fire. If the playoffs started February 1st, we would have won the cup because we were on fire during that whole stretch of February.
Do you think the Russian players next season have a chip on their shoulder and something to prove since they will not be in the Olympics?
I feel bad for them. I thought that they would figure out a way to get them in and let them play.
Under a unified team or something, yeah. I thought for sure.
Yeah, no, I feel bad for them, and I'm sure they're upset. I mean, it's not their fault that their government invaded another country, so I feel bad for them. I think it sucks. They missed out on the Four Nations tournament. They're going to miss out on the Olympics, and we all miss out because we're missing definitely some of the best players in the world.
Yeah, you're missing your reigning Stanley Cup goalie, your ex Stanley Cup goalie, your Hart trophy winner, or not Hart, um, the
Cooch.
Rocker Ted Lindsay. Um, yeah, you're missing Cooch. You're missing a defensive player in like Sergachev, who I
Ovechkin's last Olympics. It
oh,
sucks. I mean, these guys are not controlling what's going on over there.
I say this year they play with a little chip on their shoulders for not being able to play in the Olympics.
Speaking of injuries, we saw the list after the Lightning got bounced of Lightning injuries. Really long for playing in what did we play? 6 games? um, I feel like our list was longer than the Panthers list.
Oh,
What's up
for
with
sure.
that? Was this just bad luck?
I
Or do
think
we need
going
a
in,
new trainer?
remember we didn't have much time in between going into the playoffs, and I think it was the last like week or two, and we couldn't sit anybody because of the fact that we didn't have salary cap room. So remember, a lot of people wanted us to sit players those last couple of games, but we didn't have any kind of money to even call anybody up to do that. We still didn't go over the actual top free agents for this year. Real quick, I'm just going to go over some of them. Mitch Marner currently he's the biggest of the year. Obviously, it's been out there that the Ducks are going after him. Currently, he makes 10.9 million a year.
He's going to
There,
get paid 12 million or more.
yeah, there's reports that he goes up to almost 14 million. Sam Bennett from the Panthers,
Sam
4.
Bennett is going to get paid 12 million more a year and maybe a couple extra million because of the last month.
Yep.
He's going to get paid some money, and I can almost guarantee that the Panthers will not let him go.
Oh no. Jamie Benn, 9.5 million. Brett Burns, 8 million, although it's rumored that Brett Burns is going to return to Carolina.
He's old. Yeah, he's old. He's 40, isn't
Nikolai's
he?
out. Huh?
Brett
Do
Burns
it?
is 40, isn't he?
Yeah. Nikolai Ehlers, $6 million. Eggplant, he's getting 7.5. His contract's up.
That's
Just
one that might be heading elsewhere. I don't think he's going to be back in Florida, which is good for the Lightning because that guy, as we know, Brendan Hagel knows, and many players in the AHL know like that guy he aims for the head. There's no doubt about it. So I'm glad to get him out of the division. Hopefully,
Marchand, $6.1 million.
he's going to get a nice little final contract, and he's going to be able to pick where he wants to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around down there at a number that's about the same, maybe less.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with Brad staying there. I've seen him rumored that couple different places, but when I seen what he did with that team, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays there to try to build a three-peat there.
Are you
Uh,
like me? I 100% wish we got him at the trade deadline.
yeah. Yes. It's so funny because right now Tampa fans would be like, hell no, never, ever since he licked Cali. But if that type of player was on your team, you'd be super happy to have him. Look at Corey Perry. Look how much, well, let's not
Oh
look at
gosh. Oof.
Corey.
Poor Corey Perry.
Matter of fact, he's a free agent this year also.
He's
But
got
look,
to retire. Come on, Corey.
everybody said that Corey Perry was one of the dirtiest players in the game. Then he came to Tampa, and people started getting his jersey. I'm looking at you, Debbie Ken. Um,
She waited
but
until he scored a goal.
yeah, so you know, I think he's a Corey Perry. He comes to your team, and all of a sudden you like him. Because trust me, down in the Panthers, their 100 fans that they had down there before the Stanley Cups did not like him. Um, Old bolts that
I'm clipping that. We're posting that, by the way, because I feel the same way. We both know that less than 5 years ago, there was nobody supporting that team.
no. There's old bolts, and we know how the Lightning like to tend to go back to some of their old ex players. So I'm just going
Two
to run through
players they bring back, and you're
not
like, oh, that's the Lightning's move. Bring them back in.
Vladdy. Yeah. I want to say
I'll
there
tell
was
you
some.
what, though, he played excellent for the Jets this season.
He
So I
did.
would gladly welcome him back.
So Druin is a free
Nope.
agent.
Not happening.
Here's another one. I think that's going to be your same answer. Tanner Janot.
I would bring him back.
Would you?
I would. That's the kind of guy we need. We need him to score a couple more goals. But I joke about bringing Vladdy back. I'd say no because any player we bring back better be the Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, Yanni Gord. We know the type of guy I'm talking about. Any player we bring in free agency has to be that.
This
Has
is
to.
the X bolt that I wouldn't mind. Oh, Bogo was one that we brought back also, but he isn't up for. Um,
Yeah, but then we trade him away like immediately.
Here's one I wouldn't mind, and I hope Mike Douglas isn't watching. Ruda is a free agent this year. He's just too expensive though, but he's a free agent.
Well, is he going to make that much? Because the third pairing defenseman has got to be fixed. Perbix we talked about, he's gone. He's gonna get overpaid by
Yeah,
somebody. Um, we've got to upgrade him. Lilleberg, is that experiment over? I know a lot of fans are split on this.
I think they
I,
keep him, but I don't think he's that third pairing. I think he's their 7D.
then what do? Do you bring up another young guy to play with him, or I feel like you got to bring in a veteran to play with him, or put McDonough with him. Um, I don't know, because I agree with you. I think they are dedicated to Lilleberg, and he fits that profile of the guys we need to get that toughness. But defensively, he was a liability. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on that and blame it on Perbix. Perbix was way more sound defensively. They were a pairing, but if you go back and look at a lot of those goals they gave up, which was the majority of our defensive pairings minuses, Perbix was the better defensive player.
So Ruda, we both say we wouldn't mind having back. Mikey Isimont, I wouldn't mind having him back.
Um, I wouldn't take him back. I think we need a bigger guy. I mean, he fits that profile, right? But he's small. He's a little guy. I want a big, intimidating guy. I'd rather have Janot back.
ABB,
No, what's ABB doing? We've played this game. We've played this game for years.
Corey
He's too
Perry.
little. He can't play in the NHL. He's in an AHLer.
If you're an NHL team, are you scared to sign Corey Perry now? like,
Yes.
you're not going to win the Stanley Cup.
Yes. 100%. But I'll tell you, we could use a Corey Perry.
Yeah. Well, here's kind of, uh, I think, a Corey Perry type guy that never really got his chance here. Tyler Mott,
Where'd he go?
Detroit.
Um, no, I'm not bringing him back.
And then there's three defensemen still left that are old Bolts. You have Savard, Calvin DeHaan, and Fleury.
DeHaan got a lot of playing time this season. He was on two teams too, right? Was it?
Yes,
He was part of the New York Colorado trade. Is that what it was?
I believe so.
He was in
Yes,
Colorado.
for Colorado.
Um, I don't know. I think he's reached his potential though. He's not going to get better. He's a third line defenseman in the NHL at best.
Now you have Matt Duche. These are not obviously
So
who's a
this is
free
that
agent.
second tier of free agents that you're looking at now.
Yeah, Claude Giroux, Taylor Radish. Um, One that I think could be interesting for the Lightning to go after is Matthew Nyes.
He's going to get a big paycheck though. We can't afford him unless we unload somebody.
Yeah, I mean that would be who I would, if I was the Lightning, I'd try to target. And then there's been the rumors out there, not only because you can't play that video, not only is there
I'm
that
trying.
rumor McDavid wants to come to Tampa, but there was also the rumor that Jonathan Tays wanted to play here in Tampa. Now it's shifted
That has
more.
been going around. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the
I
guy
see
hasn't
as of
played in a
today,
couple of
it's shifted
years.
to Colorado and shifted to Winnipeg. But just 2 days ago, it was on the Tampa train. So,
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that either. I'd like to see some younger players play, get signed by the Bolts, not another guy that's at the end of his career. Do you think the Lightning, if he makes it to free agency, you think the Lightning make a move for Marchand, make some sort of pitch?
no, no, I think they know his price tag's out of their league.
I think I got in.
And I do
Listen,
want to point out, we did forget the biggest news of the offseason that Serena had put in here. Blashill is gone.
correct. And his place was taken by Dan Highnote, Colorado Avalanche great. So we'll see. We got our wish, right? Blashell's gone. High note in. High note's the guy that if he was in his prime, we'd take on this team.
Yeah.
He dropped the gloves. He was a pesky player. So yeah, that we'll see if it makes a difference with him being gone. Obviously, they got to make some changes here and make some stuff happen. So I think I'm almost there, Thomas. I'm almost there to show this clip. Might be worth it. Sorry, we're in full off-season mode, and if you guys know, we only really go once a month during the off-season since there's not too much going on. I don't even have my mic set up. My little office studio here is a mess. So bear with us during the off
Here is a
season.
little message that Sonia Bryson Kirksey sent me to say to everybody watching. Her mom is at home. She has a new prosthetic leg, but she still has a lot to overcome. It's still a lot of struggle for all of them. They're exhausted caring for her. Sonia is, but she won't be complain because she's glad she's still here. Her mom will be 80 on the 3rd, and she said she loves all of it, Bolts Nation.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully Sonia is doing okay during the off season, and Sonia's mother is going to have as a great recovery. So thank you, Sonia. All right. As teased for the last 20 minutes, the clip that I have not seen of Spittin' Chicklets talking about Connor McDavid potentially playing on a different team this season. This will be my first time hearing it too. Let's see what they say. Hopefully you guys can hear this.
What was the sick rumor?
McDavid to a team that starts with the letter T.
Tampa, wow.
And it was not Toronto, Biz.
Seriously?
So, that was a rumor I heard. I mean,
There's no state taxes in Tampa, Biz.
Okay,
Jeez.
I think this is time actually to play the video that I sent you, Grinelli. Teeing up this video, I don't know if you can hear it great. The question is asked to him, like, you know, with this core here, like, what do you feel about moving forward? Gee, can we play that video?
I don't know if we need to hear sad McDavid, but as you heard at the beginning of that clip, Connor McDavid, obviously not happy, not winning the Stanley Cup and being in it for the last 2 seasons, 2 years. I wouldn't be surprised if he does ask for a trade, but how on earth does he end up in Tampa? You got to trade Cooch, right?
Yeah.
It's Cooch. It's somebody else on the roster.
Cooch
I think it's got to be. Yeah. Cooch and McDavid on the same team would almost not be fair. I mean, I guess you got Draisaitl playing with McDavid right now. Draisaitl is very similar to Cooch. Hey, JBB, make it happen. I like how the camera zoomed in. JBB, I'm serious about this, bro. Make it happen. You only live once. You're going to get fired if we continue to lose in the first round anyway. Just fucking do it. We don't have no first round picks left. Make it happen. I'm fine with it.
Are you okay with losing Cooch or a point?
For McDavid, I don't want to lose Cooch because I think he is going to end up being the best Lightning player we've ever seen play here.
Point McDavid we're on the national team together. They were teammates there.
So maybe they buddied up and became friends, and
No, they hate each other, but
no, great.
They are used to each other though. Or a Vasi. They might say, "Hey, we need goalie."
They do.
They
do
yes.
need goalie. So listen,
say,
if it's Vasi, a prospect, a draft pick, it's going to have to be more than that, I'm assuming, for McDavid. But I do it. I do it.
Crazy. I was thinking about that when I saw that video, and I was like, we would have to. Well, Mike Douglas said that he would have to come here for just a Cuban, but we would have to clear that much cap for him. You would have to either have another team that's going to take on half the salary, and then we can give them someone like Paul or Cirelli, McDonough. But now a lot of our players are getting into that no move clause, no trade clause that you're going to have to worry about.
Cirelli would be an interesting one to add to that trade. I feel like he might be somebody that they would want, and I don't think he's got the movement clause just yet.
Serena says Getzel for McDavid. Oh, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think you make that move. I don't know, man. We're at the point where it's like first round exit is where this team's at. So as far as making a huge move or a huge trade, you can only do so much in free agency, right? We don't have draft picks. We don't have much in the pipeline that can come up and be effective. So I think if you got a chance to make a splash, do it. What's the worst that can happen? You don't make the playoffs. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'd rather not make the playoffs than lose in the first round. which we've done 4 years in a row now. Lost in the first round.
Yeah.
They got to do something. It's time to make a move. We've made small moves. I think Gensel coming in was an awesome addition. I know you don't like to say it was replacing Stamkos, but I think that's the easiest way to put it for a lot of people since he's a forward. And, JBB trading Sergachev in the offseason to help make that happen. He's not afraid to make a big move. So I think if you can do it and get the best player in the world, some people say, I still think Cooch is better. Because Cooch just doesn't even look like he's trying to be the best, and he just is. But McDavid, I think,
and I don't know if McDavid's a McDavid without Draisaitl. As good of a McDavid.
That's why I think you got to keep. That's why I think you can keep Cooch. I think you got to have Cooch playing with him. Uh-oh, sorry. Could you hear that?
No.
Okay, sorry. Let's go to Twitter. By the way, if you're out there in the chat, we'll entertain some of your moves here. I also have not read any of X's suggestions here, but let's take a look and see what we got. Bolt's breakdown says sign Gonzo. We talked about that. That is the one move that they do need to do to keep him. Ditch Sheary and Howard. Okay, so we haven't talked about Howard. Howard. Oh, yeah. I don't think anyone's going to take Sheary off our hands. We're kind of stuck.
No, one more year. $2 million playing for the Crunch.
But Isaac Howard is a big chip in what's going to definitely be a trade for the Lightning in the offseason. I'm fine with trading Howard for a first-round pick or for some prospects. We've got to get some younger guys in Syracuse that we can develop.
I think it's going to be before the draft, which is when? I know it's coming up.
They're doing the combine right now, so I think it's the end of this month. Sign Luke and a Pat Maroon-esque forward. Sign Luke. Who's he talking about, Luke?
Glendening.
Oh, Glendening. I didn't even know that was left.
The 27th is the draft. And I think you have to get rid of Howard before then so you can get those draft picks for this year's draft.
Well, you don't have to, but I think it would make sense to try to get some draft picks. It also depends on what their scouts say. I mean, I don't know how strong this draft is. We're not going to have a first-round pick. I don't even know what our first pick is. It might not be till the third or fourth round. I haven't even looked at that yet. So, but yeah, if they see anyone that they like in this draft, use Howard and go get him. At Ends Hockey, ENNS Hockey says they need one depth forward. They need more than one depth forward, bud. And D-man, IMO. D is more important. Ferraro or Spence via trade involving Howard makes sense. Fabro is an option. JBB sounds like he wants something bigger, though. Petrica keeps coming up. Have a feeling we might see a move even bigger than that. What do you think of that? Ferraro, Spence, Fabro, you like any of these guys? These guys aren't doing much for me.
No. I'm sorry, I'm looking at when our draft is. Our first draft pick is going to be 2025. Of course,
Ryan at PowerSpaz04. Dream world for me would be trading for Brady Tkachuk. That's funny. You know what? If you want to play the Florida game and go toe to toe with Florida, yeah, bring Tkachuk down. I wouldn't be opposed to a package that sent Hagel or Sorelli and loser boy Howard. So that's a good question. Would you trade a Hagel or a Sorelli package with Howard to get Brady Kachuk and a Bolts jersey?
Who?
Hagel
Who'd you
with
say?
Howard, Hagel with Howard, or Sorelli with Howard for Brady Kachuk?
Sorelli, yes. Hagel, no.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. If we could make that work, Kachuk for Sorelli and Howard, I would pull the trigger on that one. I'm with you. I don't let Hagel go right now. I think Hagel just keeps getting better, and he fits what we need more of. Let's see what else we got. Lemons at Ultimate Lemons says we need a Bennett-esque forward on the team. So does everybody. That's why he's going to make $15 million a year. I don't see Gonzo as that style of player. Dump Perbix, Sherry, Radish. I think Radish is still going to be here next year. Acquire a tough veteran D. One that isn't as injury prone as Chernak. Yeah. Be nice, reshape fourth line with faster grit. Yeah, I mean, you're spot on with some of that. T-Strum, TBL Fan 38, put Cooper on the first line. Give Hagel the A. Okay. Alexander at TBL _ Knowles 99 says Brock Ozer 7 years, $7 million. Do you take that?
No.
Right now, we can't afford that. So we'd have to move somebody.
No. So we have 1 pick in the second, no picks in the third, 1 pick in the fourth. So we got none in the first, 1 in the second, none in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, none in the sixth, and 4 in the seventh. For this draft.
I really don't even care about the draft. Just like JPP.
And we have no first round draft picks in 2028.
Ever. When's our next first round draft pick? You got to pull up 2029?
2028.
Yeah. We got one more pretty good one here. Michael Campbell at Mikey Campy 4997 would honestly love it if they could pick off Marchand for like 3 years, 6 to 8 million. I think they could do that if he doesn't stay in Florida. He would take 6 to 8 million, but we'd have to make some moves to make that happen. We've seen it every offseason so far in this era of Lightning hockey. And if we're going to make some moves and change this team, we've got to unload somebody with significant salary on the Lightning's roster today. Who do you think that is? Sergachev, Stamkos last season? What did you say?
The first round pick that we would have had this year was traded for Tanner Jeannot.
Let's not talk about that trade.
The second round pick that we would have had was traded to Nashville for McDonough, and then the second round pick we did get was from the Kings for Tanner Jeannot. So we traded the first round for a second round for him.
This makes me even more want to go back and bring Jeannot back for third or fourth line salary, because I feel like he owes us for losing all those first round picks for him. No, I'm serious. I would try to bring him back to be a fourth line wing at a low number. I don't think teams are going to be lining up for him. We've got to fill that fourth line out with tougher guys. Same thing with the third line. I'd like to get a couple more scorers on the third line, which Jeannot has kind of proved like maybe he's not as big of a scorer as we thought he was going to be after his first season. So I'm on board with bringing Jeannot back. But you got to answer my question, though. On today's Lightning roster, we've seen every offseason one or multiple players go. You know, it was Killer a couple seasons ago. It was Stamkos, Sergachev last season.
Killer was just free agent.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could bring him back because of salary, a cap casualty. I think if we lose somebody this time, it'll be a trade, and I think that trend will continue. Who's it gonna be?
Sorelli or Paul?
Paul's not making much money though. I don't know if it's worth what 3.5. I don't know if that's worth unloading. I think he's a little too streaky, but for the third line player, I'm good. I'm good with him there.
Well, who else are they going to get rid of? I mean, there's no way they touch their top with. I mean, I'd love to say Hedman.
I was going to say, do they dare trade Hedman after just extending him for
his no trade turn goes on July 1st? His no movement clause.
So in the next 2 weeks,
right.
We're letting Hedman. We're not letting him go. We're trading him away. Man, I'll tell you what. I think.
Don't get that started. There would be that clip running around.
I really wish that they did not sign him at that number. I'm fine with the term and him being a bolt for life, the only bolt for life we've ever had, if he sticks around. But that number that he's at, man, I wish they could have waited or somehow negotiated and get him at like 6, just to have a little bit more room. Because just we need players. We need some more players. And there you go, Token Dave. I mean, Point's been he's a good player. He led the team in goals, but he wasn't as good as he's been in the past. Do they move a Braden Point? It could happen.
Yeah. So let's see. You have Cooch, who has only 2 more seasons left. Then he's a UFA. Yeah.
Cooch wants to be here from what it sounds like. Like, obviously, he doesn't talk that much, but you read articles for people that have talked to him, and he seems to really like it here.
And he has a 10-team no-trade list. You have Point. He has a no-movement clause. So he cannot be moved. Traded, sent to minors, or waived without his approval. Jake has a no-movement clause. Hagel has no clause.
Oh, damn.
Sorelli
he might be the guy that's got to go then.
Sorelli has a no-trade clause. He cannot be traded without approval. Bjorkstam has a modified 10-team. Paul has a no-trade clause. Yanni Gord, no-trade clause. Connor Sherry, modified no-trade. His is 6-team trade list. No.
Chris is in the chat.
Gergeson. Gergeson has a modified no trade.
But he's not making much. I think you keep him. He's fine for that fourth line. Chris Longtime is in the chat. I met Chris once. I don't know if you ever met Chris. I'd hate to lose him, but I think Paul is a real trade possibility. But as we just heard, maybe not. He's got a no movement clause. There's no trade or no movement on Paul.
Did you just ask if I've met Chris Longtime?
Yeah.
I've met him like 900 times.
I thought you were going to say a long time ago.
Oh.
GV is with me. This might be Tanner Janot's YouTube account. I'd be game to get Janot back. I'm with you. Fourth liner, beat some people up, scare some people. That's what we need.
What about someone like Chernak? Get rid of Chernak.
Yeah. That's definitely a possibility. I like Chernak, but as we all know, very injury prone. It's basically because how he plays. Here you go, GV. Would you guys trade Point, Hagel, and Howard for McDavid? I think that's too much.
Yeah, no.
I think 2 of those guys and a draft pick might get it done. But the other side of that is I don't know if we still have to unload somebody to keep McDavid because McDavid's making 14.
Yeah, and
He's making some serious money, so it gets tough when you get some of these guys. I think Hagel's on the no trade list at this point. It's like Token Dave says. Okay, Token says Point, Howard, and 2 firsts for McJesus. I don't know if they want 20, 30 first round picks though. So I guess we could give them
Hagel
that
and Point together would be 15.5 million.
So we kind of have to do like a Hagel and a Point or a Sorelli and a Point to fit McDavid in.
A Sorelli and a Hagel, and then you have to throw in a Cooch or a Point or a Vasi or a Hedman.
Hedman would be interesting if we could get him to move the no movement clause. Gentry's late to the party. We played the clip from Spittin' Chicklets. There's a rumor that McDavid might get moved to a team that starts with a T, and it's not Toronto. I just put the link in the chat if you want to check it out. Just a rumor. So we're playing fun games and pretending like we're JVB and what we would do to bring in the big dog. But I don't know.
Five players that got selected to the Olympics. 5 players that got selected to the Olympics already. Hedman, Chernak, Point. Who else?
Bjorkstrand.
Bjorkstrand and Gergesson, right? Yeah, Bjorky, and then
going to be on Team. Gensel should have been announced to Team USA already, but he gets no respect.
Well, those top
Sabrina wants to get rid of Gensel. She keeps bringing up Gensel.
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah. So all we can do is speculate on what the Bolts will do. I do think we're going to see some moves. We're going to see free agency. We're going to have to see some trades. I'm going to look up the date real quick. When's that going to get started?
July 1st.
July 1st. Is free agency?
Yeah.
Yeah, July 1st at noon. So it's going to happen pretty quick here in the next couple weeks. You got the draft. You got free agency. I was thinking maybe we'll be back in late July, but I think we're going to be back in early July. That sounds like, and maybe we'll tap into the insider and drag him on to talk about some of this stuff. I was texting with one other guy who's been on this show before, Mr. Mike O, radio legend.
As long as it wasn't Willy Wonka again.
Willie, I wish we had a highlight, like just a couple minutes of just highlights of the show. I think we'd kick it off with Willy Wonka.
No, we wouldn't.
Our favorite mystery guest. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a guy that showed up at Emily Arena with a golden ticket, dressed as Willy Wonka. And I got Schooley all hyped. So I was like, oh, I got a secret guest. I got a secret guest. And then on popped Willy Wonka. And the disappointment in Schooley's face was almost as disappointing as when we brought the stash back this past season.
The message
we will do again. You got to prepare yourself. At some point next season, we got to bring the stash back on.
The messages
make an appearance.
That night when Willy Wonka was on was crazy.
Why?
Because I was like, what the hell are you doing? Get this guy off of here. And then the messages I was getting from people watching going, who is this guy?
If you went to Emily Arena, you probably knew who he was. You're right. Well, I mean, you don't know who he was, but you recognize him because they put him on the Jumbotron every time. listen, we gotta mix it up. We can't have the same. We can't have Eric Erlander on the show all the
Erland.
time.
Erland.
Yeah,
Where the hell
that's
you
his
been?
that's his brother from another mother because they don't have a different last name. What's funny is this past season. You know who has consistently been on the show and was not on the show last season?
Greg.
And there's a couple, but one stands out. What'd you say?
Greg Wolf.
Yeah, we gave him the season off. Got to get him back on. We'll have him on as one of the first guests.
Can I say, speaking of Greg Wolf, I got to see him today.
The parade?
And that was because of this right here. So, congratulations.
You went to the parade?
I was in the parade on one of the pirate water taxis.
Oh.
And then landed at Armature Works and was part of. So, congratulations to the Tampa Bay Sun. If you guys have not checked them out, they are a women's league soccer team. This was their first professional year, and as a league, and Tampa won the inaugural, which was kind of weird. They played against Fort Lauderdale in the finals, so two Florida teams. Currently they have 9 teams. Next year they introduced a 10th team into the league, but they were the national champions this year, and they did their boat parade today for them, and not like a Lightning or a Bucks boat parade, but respectfully, and it was cool being there for the first one ever, because I have a feeling this team is going to have some other ones down the road. And, we always say, I remember the first time this and this time that. So this will be cool. And they're owned by the guys that own the Gaslight Project down there in Ybor. So if you haven't seen
David Shaw? David Shaw.
Yep. So if you have not seen the renditions of the stadium that they're proposing to be putting in Ybor, it will be the first one ever for a women's professional sports team. And it looks great. And piggybacking off of that, they are the ones that were going to build the Rays stadium, where now they're going to build this. But the other news that came out today is the Rays have signed an intent to sell to a Jacksonville real estate guy for $1.37 billion. So it looks like the Rays are about to be sold too. So Tampa sports looking great right now. We get rid of Blashill. We get rid of the ownership and the ownership in the Rays. We got the Tampa Sun winning championships around here. So it's looking great.
Hey, Bucks are going to make a run for the Super Bowl this season too, so I'm excited for them.
Time to get baked.
But yeah, I did see that news earlier. I saw J.P. Peterson went live. He's been he's kind of known about it, but couldn't talk about it. So he's another one, by the way, who wasn't on this past season, who usually jumps on with us. He was supposed to come on a couple times, but we just couldn't schedule it out, so we'll get him on. But yeah, exciting times. Hopefully Stu doesn't screw this up, but from what I understand, it's like the final steps of this getting done. And I'm assuming with this is all happening, new ownership already has plans for the stadium situation. And by the way, if you haven't been to a Rays game over at Steinbrenner Field, I don't know if you have a Schooley. I went to one early in the season. I can't. It's too late now. Summer is here. I can't handle the heat like some of you people can. But I went
tell you now to bring burn pads with you
for the seats.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what. The game I went to was good weather because it was early in the season, and it was awesome. Baseball belongs outside. They got to figure out something where it feels at least like you're outside. a new stadium is going to be a game changer. I used to live in Baltimore, and when I was a kid, they opened Camden Yards, and you didn't want to go to that part of town before they built that stadium, and that stadium sold out forever after they built it. So if you build it, people will come. People are just going to want to go check it out. And the way that they do any stadium now, it's not just a stadium sitting there like Raymond James. They build all around it, retail, condos, all of it. That's like the plan. Go look at Atlanta's ballpark. So exciting news, yeah, for everyone, and congratulations to the Sun. I know our friends Debbie and Joyce, probably the biggest supporters of the Sun out there. So awesome to see them do well, and deservedly. I'm glad they got a boat parade.
Yeah, it was really cool. That's why I wanted to be down there today when I saw that they announced it for today, and I was like, oh, I'm off. I was like, let me go down there just to show support and be part of it, because of the fact that, I know not many people knew about this team, this league. Greg Wolf is their in-game announcer, just like he does for the Lightning. He got to drink from the chalice today. They actually,
Nice.
the girls made him drink from the chalice. So it was a good time, and I think the fandom will grow. It was great seeing little kids out there wearing Sun gear. I was in Lightning gear. I don't have any Sun gear. I did follow them. I never went to a game, but I did follow them, and I want to change that next year. I'll definitely.
Let's go. I'll go with you. I'll go to a game with you. Especially when they build that new stadium. They're playing at like Blake High School?
Blake High School.
Yeah.
Waterfront.
So they need a
Riverfront
stadium.
Stadium.
And I'm assuming that the Rowdies will end up in that stadium. The Rays own the Rowdies, so I don't know if they'll be part of. I'm sure it'll be part of that package, and I'm sure they'll end up playing there. But all right, well, we are way over our time. Let's go to the chat real quick, see if we missed anything. Gentry, the Rays are about to be the Jacksonville Rays. It is a Jacksonville developer,
Right.
but
They went
MLB is not want a team in Jacksonville. Look at the Jaguars.
The
Although
only
the Jaguars
reason-
are going to build a badass stadium.
Yeah, but that's only because they have Khan. If it wasn't for Khan, that team, I lived there for a year. I was a security guard for the Jaguars. It's a dump, and it's just gotten worse.
Serena says the Savannah Bananas are expanding to 16. Listen, I just found out what the Savannah Bananas are. I watched one of their games on TV. Still don't like it. Solar Bears GM and coach dipped. I did see this.
It was the same guy. He was the coach and the GM. He resigned to become an AHL coach, which is really weird because I just seen a report that an AHL coach just up and resigned out of nowhere. So I have a feeling this guy was aware of that happening.
Gentry's asking, where has the stash been? The stash got dipped last season. You can hear him at games. We're still friends. Schooley, maybe not as much. And we will have him on at least once next season. I like having him on, but Schooley will get very mad at me.
For what reason?
Because I can just put you guys up and just sit back and
Exactly.
I love the debates. So he will be back. We'll bring him on next season. If you want to see what he's up to, he is doing Try All by Fire on YouTube, where they do
hot sauce.
They test different hot sauces. So if Hot Ones is your thing, it's kind of like a spin-off of that. And he's actually more behind the camera, which is a shocker. But he says he really likes doing that, being behind the camera. So I think Schooley agrees with that. So moving on. Token Dave. Haha, nope, not Coop. You get Wonka. What the fuck? Yeah, that's our mystery guest. We got to do some more mystery guests next season. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Let's shoot for 3 or 4 weeks, early July. Let's talk about some of these moves that the Lightning are going to make here in the next month. We'll try to grab a guest for that. And again, if you're not familiar during the off season, it's really just a once a month thing. I was ready to end the show for good at the end of last year, but I think we're going to keep it going. So it's going to be tricky because I'm actually going to be out of town a lot more for this upcoming season. So we might need some subs to co-host, but we've got a while till October. We got a couple months to figure that out, and we've got some things in the works in the background. Maybe you'll hear us on the radio. Maybe you won't. I don't like to pet my chickens until they hatch. Is the expression? It is now.
Yes.
I don't think it's pet chickens. count. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. So we are working on some things, and I do want to be a little better prepared next season and prepare a little more for some of these virtual watch parties. I think we found a couple great places to do live parties that are welcoming us back. So I'd like to be a little bit more prepared for that and let you guys know in advance. So we'll be working on that kind of stuff in the off season. Until then, you can follow us at Shooty Shoots, at Tommy Boy. What's the number?
1014.
1014, at We the Thunder Pod. Follow us on X. We thank you guys. We get awesome interactivity with everyone on X. That's probably the best place to interact with us. Make sure you're on Thunderbolt, still the best place to go for Lightning discussions, news. That's where I saw that clip pop up today. Don't piss off the admins. They'll kick your ass right out of there. Jesse Roscoe. But yeah, you got anything else, Schooley?
No, if you guys are missing some Lightning and missing us, go back and listen to some of the other episodes if you didn't get to see them all this year. Some good ones that I would say is if you can find the one of Paris, watch the one with Paris. She's the jersey collector. What's her face? The one that does the pucks. Why can't I think of her name?
The Hockey Collective.
Yeah.
HCK. Why am I forgetting her name too?
Starts with a T, don't it?
Yes. She's going to murder us.
Yes.
Tay.
Tay. Is it Tay? Taylor?
Token guy. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, follow her. I mean, she's still giving out pucks and all kinds of stuff. Make sure you give her a follow, and we'll have her on next season. We'll get Paris back. I thought Paris is a cool guest as well. I think
we were the first ones to scoop her, and then
I know,
she
all
was
of a sudden she's on
Fox
TV.
13, the
Lightning
were
flying her into games. You won't see the Lightning doing much for us, that's for sure. But you know what? I kind of let that bother me towards the end of the season. And I think I've kind of adjusted myself to be like, you know what? Let's lean into it. The team doesn't seem to embrace this podcast, which has kind of been one of the first ones that has been around for a while. You know what? Maybe we do another roast. We've done a roast of the team before, so maybe we'll lean into it a little bit. But we also still want to get back in that press box too, so we're working on that. It's a fine line we play here, but no, I'm not going to hold back on some of my thoughts during the next season for sure, because I think I have at least in the past, just knowing that hey, maybe we're going to piss off someone from the Lightning if we say what we really feel. I'm going to lean into it. So that's how I'm going to approach it. We got nothing to lose. So
yes, Token, that's Paris. So check out some of the old episodes. This season, I thought we had some real good new people, Michael Olivero, a lot of first time guests that you talked about guests we didn't have on that we normally have on, but we had some great new guests this year. So go back and check them. Check Sonia out. Check out Eric Harrelson, Lightning Insider.
Yeah, and we'll continue that. I still want to try to do almost in every other week we have a guest, and a lot of this past season it was every week we had a
Yep.
guest on. So I do want to continue that, bring back some of these folks for the second time. I'm dying to get Casey Hudson back on. He used to cover the team. She's up at NESN, which is Boston's. She's covering the Bruins now
Yeah.
and all the other sports up there. She's big time now.
And
So I know
it'd
she'll
be nice
jump back
to have
on.
Deandra on when both of us are here also.
Someday that's going to happen. So a lot of stuff, and we'll also, as always, try to change things up. We don't want us to be the same show every season, every
Wall.
week,
Yeah, we
every
had
year.
Wall this past season. I mean, think of that. Andre Wall we got to interview this past season.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. All right, I said I would read this earlier from Mike O. Since you brought him up, it reminded me. Here's what Mike O says: the Lightning need at least 1 to 3 players that are dedicated to making life miserable for the opponents. They need to bring the hitting machine and keep pounding away. 100% agree. That's how they're going to get past the Panthers. Not only that, they need to figure out a way to beat the Panthers for check. Sorry, it's spell check error there. And then the Panthers are making a mockery of other teams' top players by shutting them down, just like they did with Cooch and Point. I added that part in. Shoving the lanes and hitting the ever-loving shit out of them to where they're not going to get where they need to be in order to set up goals. That's my opinion. At least me and Mike always see eye to eye on this team. That's why I like that guy.
Yeah, and he's a man that knows some hockey too, and been around the Lightning for quite a while.
Yes, and he gave me tickets to the reggae festival. So thanks, Mike. All right. Cool. All right. Make sure you stay tuned so you know when we're live next, because during this off season, it's probably going to be like a week of thing. But we'll try to keep you posted, and we will get back to our normally scheduled weekly show. As of right now, it will be Wednesday night starting in October. That could change between now and then. But make sure you follow us. That's how we can let you know. All right. This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder. We're out.
That's it.